I think there's something behind you. What? Oh, it's just... I nervously look over my shoulders. To my thankful surprise, there's nothing there. I turn back around to Monika. There's nothing... I look around to see Monika is no longer standing in front of me. Instead, she's already running up the steps. Hey, no fair! I call out to her. Made you look! Looks like she's been spending time around Sayori lately. I smirk as I start running up the steps to try and catch Monika. No way I am going to let her beat me because of this. We ended up having to take a break about midway up the stairs. But for all intents and purposes, we agreed that Monika beat me. Thankfully, there was a rest stop along the path, which allowed us to catch our breath and get some water before we started walking up the stairs again. After it felt like another hour of walking up the stairs, we finally reached our destination. Oh, wow. That does look pretty cool. And it's already nighttime. Lovely purple... reminds me of Yuri. Lovely purple sky. Well, it's not quite sunset anymore, but the view's still nice. Whoa. Yeah, look at that. That looks really cool. I run up behind the benches and take in my surroundings. Thanks to good visibility, we're clearly able to make out downtown as well as the surrounding neighborhoods on the south and east sides of the town. Nearly every single building is beautifully lit up in all kinds of colors as they shine brightly for miles on end. I look up to the sky and see the stars twinkling brightly above us and the rest of the city. Monika, this is beautiful. I end up having to take a seat as I'm overwhelmed from my physical exhaustion and the beauty that lays out before us. I thought you'd like it, Mark. Whenever I feel overwhelmed or stressed out, I usually go here around sundown. Seeing the city lit up under the stars really melts away all my troubles and worries. I wanted to head over here anyways tonight, but I thought you could use it just as much as I could. Monika takes a seat on the bench next to me. I take it that surprise has been on your mind. Well, it's not just that. It's other things. It's been a pretty hectic week for me. With the festival prep, the actual festival, my surprise, and Monika cuts herself off. It's fine if you don't want to tell me. I mean, it's not like I can really share with you my thought process right now anyways. I don't even know what I want. Did my questions help? I mean, they have. I'm just not sure what I want. I don't know who I'd be better off with. I mean, I see potential with me and Natsuki, but my feelings are just all over the place. Monika nervously looks off to the other side. I'm sorry if I helped cause that. I really didn't mean to act like I did earlier if I knew I was going to make you uncomfortable. I wouldn't have done it yesterday either. I wasn't uncomfortable though, that's the thing. Being with you earlier today and yesterday felt right. I don't know, part of me still has feelings for Natsuki. Yeah, this guy has feelings for Natsuki out of nowhere. Well, with Yuri it takes him fucking ages for him to think, oh, maybe we should be more than friends. And with Natsuki, like, instantly he is fucking in love with her. Really weird. I want to give her a chance, even if we haven't spent as much time together lately. Part of me still feels bad about how I've treated Sayori lately. I haven't spent that much time around her since all this started. Even though I told her I wanted to spend more time with her. But Monika, to be truthful, I've had a lot of fun since we've started talking. And I want more, but I don't know if I should. Well, I might as well just confess. I might as well just confess to her. I just feel so divided. I feel like I'm being pulled everywhere at once. Well, Mark, nobody's forcing you to make a decision here and now. You still have time. I have to say something to Natsuki. I just don't even know if I share the same feelings for her. There's so much has changed over the last week. It feels like I'm in such a selfish spot right now. I'm going to end up breaking at least one person's heart by the time this is all said and done. And someone's going to be happy. I know I should just be happy with whatever I decide, but I don't know if I can live with myself knowing that I hurt someone again. First Sayori, and it might not just be Natsuki I'm hurting this time. Mark, you're not selfish. If you were, chances are you would have decided already. It's clear that you're putting a lot of thought into this. But you did put yourself in the situation by being around the others a little too much with nobody particular in mind. I know. Monika stares off into the illuminated horizon. You know, it's crazy how high up we are. Everything looks so small from up here. Yeah, it kind of does. I join Monika in gazing at the cityscape. I've lived in this area my whole life, but I don't think I've ever really had an appreciation for it until now. Being up here to look down at everything really helps calm my nerves. Everything's just so peaceful. Whoa, hi Monika. What the hell? You look a bit weird, Monika. I turn to my right to see Monika elegantly looking out onto the horizon. Even when she's spacing out, she manages to look her best. The way your emerald eyes glisten in the moonlight, how her hair flows in the wind every time a breeze passes us, and her flawless skin seems to glow in the darkness. I'll say it, she's definitely perfect, but can I be with her? At least in this moment I really want to. Monika then turns to me, noticing my stare. She immediately blushes as she looks back onto the cityscape. You know, seeing everything just so small. Oh, so small just reminds me in retrospect of how insignificant all of our problems are. How so? I mean, look at it, Mark. Everyone we know is down there, living out their lives. Being happy, being sad, thinking about how tomorrow is going to play out for them. Thinking that they're 100% in control of their destiny. And then they just go and do it, not really questioning if they manually made that choice or if a higher power already predetermined it for them. Because they're all so small they can be controlled. And they would never think to ask themselves about it because they just can't see the bigger picture. Most people don't realize just how small they are in retrospect to the universe. They don't think to question what really is determining their lives. They'll never know what's really out there. Well, what do you think is out there, Monika? The truth. The truth that there is no more life. What there's no more to life than what most people see it as. They're short-sighted because they can't see past their own little realities. Reality can be a multi-layered dimension for all we know. Even now, sitting here above everything we've come to know, who's to say that there isn't something else looking down on us? With the ability to control what we say and what we do, how we act everything. I mean, it's natural for the big to control the small, right? I guess. And it's usually in human nature to accept control from a higher power, even if they won't admit to it or ever realize it. Because they're so small, they'll never truly know for certain. Only a select few who learn how to see above everything could come to realize this truth. And most people can't handle it, because it goes against everything that they've ever come to accept. It's tragic. And that's why I say all our problems are so insignificant in retrospect, because it's so superficial. Wow, Monika, that's... Do I have a crush on the conspiracy theorist right now? I know she's a deep thinker, but this is something else. Still, she's clearly put a lot of time and thought into this. And she's not ranting about it like a complete lunatic. I mean, just because something's small doesn't mean it's not real, is it? But what is real, Mark? How do we know we aren't being controlled to believe that it is just life as we know it? I don't know, all this kind of reminds me of that book I mentioned earlier today. Monika turns to face me fully. About how two people know the truth about their worlds, how they struggle to accept it. It does sound like a pretty great read. I'd definitely love to read it with you sometime. Instead of Monika happily accepting my offer like I thought she would, she just frowns and looks off to the side. Is something wrong, Monika? I kind of want to ask you something, right? A hypothetical. Okay. Well, this could go one of two ways. I mentally brace for what I think she's about to ask me. I know that this is going to sound a little strange, but don't worry. So Yuri asks me weird and crazy questions all the time. Whatever it is, I'm sure I can handle it. My reassurance seemed to have helped Monika a little. Alright. I know what I was saying earlier does sound far-fetched at best, but let's just say if you were ever shown the evidence that your life was faked, that everything you've ever known was part of some predetermined simulation, would you believe it? Are you a simulation? Well, I don't know if I can answer yes or no to that. That's a pretty hard question for anyone to answer. Well, would you at least consider the evidence? Well, geez, why is Monika making me answer this? Is this a pop quiz to see if I'm worth her time? Does she have a hobby for discussing philosophy and conspiracy? Well, she was in the debate club, but come to think of it, how would I react if I was shown evidence that this wasn't real? Oh, extra choice. So they put a lot of effort in Monika's right, that's for sure. Alright, alright. I've been playing along for a little bit, but you know, let's actually think about this a little bit. So, what if I was shown right now, like in real life here, right now, somebody came over and showed me that all of this, I feel like the camera's a bit there. What if, like, in real life right now, somebody came over and showed me evidence, like actual evidence that this was all fake, that I'm also living in a Doki Doki Literature Club mod or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much that would fuck me up mentally, but why wouldn't I not consider it? You know, like if it can be proved or proven or whatever, why would I deny it outright when there's like, I don't know how you would prove it specifically. Or maybe like you could call it out or whatever, you know, like right now there's going to be a red car or whatever. There's going to be a pigeon that's going to fall dead from the sky or like stuff like that or whatever. Like if you know everything, then that's how you could kind of prove it, you know. So like, yeah, I mean, if it's right there, stuff like that, like, you know, where you can say like, oh, there's going to be a red car, then there's going to be a purple car, and then there's going to be a blue car, but it's going to crash in that lamppost over there, and then all of that happens exactly when you say it or how you say it, then yeah, how could I deny it then, you know? So, you know, if you show tangible evidence, then I would consider. I suppose I'd have to consider it. It doesn't mean I believe it right away or anything, and it'd take a lot of additional convincing to back up whatever the evidence is. Yeah, I would too. I just wanted to know how you felt about it, that's all. You never failed to pose an interesting topic of discussion, Monika. We're in really good hands under your leadership. Oh, Mark, you're too kind. Monika and I turn our attention back to the cityscape, but Monika's question continues to nag at the back of my head. I mean, how could my memories be fake? All my memories with Sayori, all the time I've spent with her. Last Sunday with Natsuki. Heck, even now with Monika. How could they all be fake? I got enough on my mind right now. Monika just probably wanted to try to take my mind off of things. And with someone of her reputation, she's just she's just naturally uninteresting person that should be gone. Who knows what else she believes in? Not that I'm one to judge. We continue to scare into the cityscape for some time before we decide it's time to start heading back. Oh wow, it's dark. Monika and I both decided early on that it'd probably be a bad idea to try and walk all the way back at night, so we just made our way to the closest bus stop, with me getting off at the stop not too far from my house. It was a pretty silent trip back, with us being too exhausted to say anything. Monika ended up resting on my shoulder on the way back, which really made me surprised. But I went along with it, being the gentleman I am. Did this prompt some of our fellow passengers to shoot us a few looks? Oh, this did prompt some of our fellow passengers to shoot us a few looks, but we just brushed it off. I really did have a lot of fun with Monika today. And if it weren't for my current circumstances, I might have just asked her out right then and there. But I need to sort out my situation first before I decide that. At least now, I think I have an idea of what I want. I did decide to hang on to the... Oh yeah, that flower, yeah. I did decide to hang on to the Camilla, figuring that I could give it to Monika at a more appropriate time. I sheepishly turn the key to my house and stumble into my living room to put the Camilla in a vase. I then lumber up to my bedroom before heading upstairs. I immediately collapse onto my bed, feeling the full weight of my exhaustion of the last few hours overtake me. My legs are completely numb for all the walking I did today. At least I managed to get some good physical exercise out of all this. And I really did get closer to Monika. A lot closer. But in doing so, if Natsuki found out about how I spent today with Monika, she'd probably be heartbroken. If all I'd say my feelings for Monika are pretty much settled, I can't say the same for Natsuki. Well, I'll try to worry about it tomorrow. I have enough on my plate as is. And hopefully I don't have another weird dream. Now you're at least calling it a weird, because that's what it is. It's not a nightmare anymore, it's a weird dream. Shut my eyes. Next thing I know, I open my eyes and see almost total darkness in front of me. There's no sight of my bed, my room or anything. And I'm always standing up, and I'm already standing upright. I quickly realize that I must be dreaming again. Maybe it won't be so bad tonight. You've done well, Mark. The same voice I've become accustomed to cheerfully echoes. I try to look around for the voice, but I can barely even see my hand in front of my face. You've consistently made the right choice over these last few days. And I couldn't be more happy with you, with us. It won't be too much longer before we can finally be all alone together, as well as rid ourselves of the others. I think by this point you have a pretty good idea of what you want, but you're still uncertain of how to proceed. I try to call out to the voice to ask what's it even talking about, but my mouth refuses to open. I'm forced to simply listen. It's time for you to eliminate loose ends. Natsuki has worn out her welcome, and it's been long past time for Sayori to leave us. There's nothing I can do as of yet. I'm still running some experiments. But you, on the other hand, are in a better position than I am to deal with the others. Given past performance with Sayori, I suggest we deal with Natsuki first. It'll be easier. Tomorrow I want you to tell her off. Tell her you want nothing to do with her. Since you should have no real feelings for her, this will be an easy task for you. I believe in you. Once Natsuki's been dealt with, it should be relatively easy to deal with the others. Hopefully by the time you've dealt with her, I'll have found a suitable solution. The only thing I'm worried about at this point is if the others figure out the truth. The truth that this reality of which we know is nothing but a lie. And we talked a little about it. It's good to see you're open-minded, Mark. But you know the truth. And we can have a more open conversation about that later. But for now I suppose you deserve a little present. For all your hard work. It's not finished yet, but I like how it's turned out so far. Do you like it? It's going to be our little room together. No more worries, no more distractions. It'll just be the two of us here. In here. Let this be your motivation. A fucking boring, empty room. It's a pretty weird way to motivate anyone, Monika. Cement this room in your mind and tell yourself this is what you're working for. This will be our paradise, our escape. Keep up the good work, Mark, and we'll be here together in no time. Sweet dreams, my love. I open my eyes. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, Monika acts like super friendly and normal, of course, and then of course it would be a lot cooler if, because she mentions Sayori and Yuri and stuff when we are together like it's nothing. But now she's like, yeah, they all have to die or whatever, you know? Like, I'm not allowed to be friends with them. But before she was like, oh yeah, you learned this from Sayori. Oh, I'm being a bit like Sayori myself, haha, or whatever, you know? Like, she's acting like it's not a problem. Like, she could just be pretending to not, you know? She could just be pretending to do that because otherwise my character would find it very suspicious, you know? But at other times, she's not suspicious at all, like in this dream, for example. So, you know, it would have been a lot cooler, I think, if Monika would kind of like realize that like killing them is bad, because now I'm already deliberately choosing Monika. Now she would be happy. You know, she would, of course, in the beginning still be that glitchy and angry about the others and stuff, stealing time away from her. But then she should kind of like realize, like, yeah, killing them wouldn't be the answer either, or whatever, you know, like they can still be friends, but, you know, the character is in love with me, so, you know, don't need to kill them or whatever. But, you know, she like acts as a bit of a psychopath earlier, and then starts to slowly become normal, and then just to become back a psychopath again. Like, shouldn't I have convinced you enough that I just want to spend time with you only? Like, why the hell do we need to kill all the others then? Anyway, I'll end it off here. And then in the next episode, yeah, normally that would be when the giant fight happens. So I'm curious to see what happens then. Maybe Monika will just step in and fucking stop everything from happening in the first place. Anyway, hope everyone's enjoyed it. Click the like button if you did. Subscribe to join the Roman army, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Valete.